The late 90s was a significant era for 3D platformers, and Rare's Banjo-Kazooie became a classic due to its fun and cartoonish nature. The game's detailed level design, colourful characters, and overall wholesome gameplay still resonate with gamers today. Cavern of Dreams is bringing back that nostalgia in its unique way. Is it the platformer of our dreams? Let's find out. I would like to thank the publisher for providing a review code, and if you like what you see, it'll help us massively if you subscribe, because it's free. In the story of Cavern of Dreams, we follow the journey of a young dragon named Finn, who is on a quest to rescue his missing siblings, who have been kidnapped. The clues Finn has gathered lead him to the Cavern of Dreams, where he meets a mysterious character known as Sage. Despite her enigmatic nature, Sage is willing to lend Finn a helping hand in search of his siblings. However, she also warns him of the dangers that lie within the cavern. As the story progresses, Finn travels to new areas and meets various characters along the way. This is a 3D platformer with emphasis on puzzle solving and collectathon elements. What separates this from others in the genre is the huge influence on N64 games, particularly Banjo-Kazooie, not only visually but in gameplay as well. Finn starts only being able to roll and jump, but as he finds more eggs, he will unlock new abilities. These mainly aid him in reaching new areas and unlocking new levels. The game has no combat whatsoever, which may deter many, but it makes up for it thanks to its tight controls and gameplay. This also means that Finn cannot die or take damage in traditional terms. Harm from enemies will see him bounce off in pain, and falling into bottomless pits will cause him to respawn. The Cavern of Dreams is the main hub that connects the different worlds. Each world has its theme, challenges and puzzles. The first area you explore, for example, Lost Leaf Lake, has an out-of-reach platform that is stopping you from progressing further. Upon exploring, you find a small tree bearing a smiling apple. Grabbing and throwing it on the ground will grow a small tree that Finn can climb. Other puzzles require the player to keep an eye out for clues within the environment. My most memorable level was Airborne Armada, where you navigate inside a giant living ship known as Mr. Carrington. It reminded me of Clanker's Cavern from Banjo-Kazooie, and Banana Studios has taken a lot of influence from it. Mr. Carrington mistakes you for the evil bat that kidnapped your siblings and appears hostile. Once inside him, you see a few boils that require treatment. This was one of the puzzles. By carrying and throwing medicines on the boils, Mr. Carrington becomes friends with Finn and grants him access to the cockpit. Some puzzles can be slightly obscure, but I feel that this was done deliberately to capture the essence of the games of the time. It can be easy to wander through a level when stuck, but there are many visual cues scattered around and experimentation is advised. Completing certain puzzles can feel very rewarding, especially when carrying out a task that may seem pointless. Finn has some helpful items that aid him in his quest, and one of them is the Jester Boots. These shoes allow Finn to walk on air when he steps off a platform's edge, similar to the hover boots in Ocarina of Time. These shoes also have an integral part to the puzzles and figuring out how to reach the egg or card in sight. The platforming in the game is pretty well balanced thanks to its tight controls. Finn feels pretty light, so much so that he can pick up speed very quickly, both on land and underwater. The developer has managed to find a good balance between speed and control, particularly when jumping on platforms. One of the hardest things to get right in a 3D platformer is the controls and the maneuverability of the character. Having to gauge the jump and the landing was never an issue during my playthrough. My only issue with the controls is the horn bounce ability. This allows Finn to drop horn first into the ground and bounce higher than his standard jump. The issue arises if the move is executed near a wall, as he will bounce off it, throwing you off course. It's a small thing, but it can be tedious after a while. I also found the camera to be slightly heavy and stiff. Although there is a chance to change this in the options, I found that it didn't do much. There are cards, mushrooms and eggs to find in the game. Your siblings are in the eggs and are your main target. As mentioned earlier, collecting certain amount will grant Sage the power to bestow an ability on you. he will eventually be spitting out water orbs and even glide through the air. You can see the eggs at the center of the hub where Sage is as well. Some will offer Finn advice on where to find their lost siblings. There are a few though that can be hatched from a swing of Finn's tail. The little dragons can be fed mushrooms, and this will cause a shortcut to open to a distant area of the cavern, as well as a heart. These hearts are needed to unlock heart doors of the same amount. The cards fill out the encyclopedia, detailing all the friends and foes you'll encounter during your adventure. These can be typically found in out of reach places and encourage the player to return with adequate ability. A large portion of the game will be spent hunting these down, alongside every mushroom and egg available in each area. The Cavern of Dreams is a very fun, if safe, 3D platformer. Having grown up during the height of the low polygon 3D platformers, I can appreciate what the developers were going for. The lack of combat may bore a few players, especially those frustrated from wandering around, but it offers a more relaxed experience and the chance to take in everything the world has to offer. It is also accessible enough for the younger, less experienced players, at least concerning the platforming elements. The game is not particularly long, although there is enough to collect to add a few hours. Cavern of Dreams uses low polygon renders and characters to go with the old school theme. Not only that, but the developers have added a blur option. This feature will reduce the sharpness of all visuals to simulate the resolution of the time. It is very convincing and a clever touch, and a reminder of a simpler time in gaming, and equally how far the art has evolved. Although it's a sweet feature, I imagine that those nostalgic enough will play through the game with it on. It also adds contrast to the visuals. The world and the characters have a charm to them, and there is a whimsical and fairy tale tone throughout the entire adventure. Some inanimate objects have eyes sticking out, similar to a certain bear and bird game. The cartoonish vibe is fitting for the kind of game that it is. I particularly like Finn's facial expressions during certain areas of the game. There are some flat sprites scattered around the game that manifest as animals in the background or special effects. There is a varied palette used in the game, particularly contrasting colors paired together to make elements pop out, such as the blue and red, making Finn visible at all times. There are also a lot of dark tones, particularly within the more sinister areas of the game. These visuals will not gel with everyone, but it is very in line with the games it's trying to replicate. The texts are easy to read, and the frame rate did not stutter at any point during my playthrough, which would have been my main concern. As mentioned before, the camera movement could be improved slightly. The audio has a variety of songs that are very fitting, with simple melodies ranging from soothing to sinister. I did enjoy the soundtrack and the sound effects of the game, particularly the vocals of Finn as he happily jumps or dashes through the level. I am impressed with the overall presentation of the game and how the developer has managed to mimic the style of the N64 era, whilst adding some contemporary elements that we see today. Cavern of Dreams will be out digitally for £9.99 or your regional equivalent, and will require a minuscule 241 megabytes to download. This game is published by Super Rare Games, so there is a chance for a limited physical copy in the future. The price is pretty spot on considering how much you get out of the game. Those looking for a longer, tough experience may want to wait for a sale though. Cavern of Dreams is a fun game that is particularly appealing to fans of the platformer genre. On the surface, it does a good job of capturing both the beauty and the scars of an old age, but this can also be seen as both the biggest strengths and its weaknesses. Those who are nostalgic for platformers of the N64 era will likely enjoy the game, but others may find it frustrating due to the lack of enemies, and some puzzles can be overly complex. It is a rewarding game that can offer many hours to the completionists out there. We give Cavern of Dreams an outstanding 8 out of 10. Thank you so much for watching, everyone. Let me know if you like the review, if it helps you make an informed decision on getting it. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was pretty spot on how they captured the essence of the N64 era, but I really want to know what you think if you've played it already. Again, if you enjoyed, please give this video a like and subscribe. Help us get to 1,000 subscribers. If you want to grab any of the games mentioned here physically, or the upcoming Final Fantasy Pixel Remaster Collection, and simultaneously support the channel, please use our PlayAsia affiliate link down below. Free shipping on orders over $100. And if you're looking for the cool looking GameCube controller, the Nixie Wizard, please use our affiliate link for that in the description below. Use coupon code GRINNY for 10% off. Stay safe everyone, peace.